the game could see the boxing voice.
Welcome back, everyone, to It's the Squared Circle with the Sports Swami, only on ThaBoxingvoice.com. And now, join me on the line. Well, this man here, once again, we talked with him on other shows, and now we're talking to him right now as he is finished up a 2015 with a very impressive, and I got to say this once again, very damn impressive, 6 wins out of 6 fights, including 3 knockouts out of his last 4, and he will hopefully be trying to pick up the pace in 2016. I give you once again the Cowboy himself. I give you Ryan Karl. Ryan, let's start off here with your the last 2 fights. Give us a grade of your last fight with Ken Alvarez and before that with Alfonso Oliveira. How do you think you did? What do you think you need to improve on?
I think I did pretty good. I was pretty happy with my performance. Of course, there's always things I feel like I really need to build on and do better with. My first fight with Oliveira, I feel like I started a little bit slow. Hard. I don't think I warmed up probably as good as I should have. But I think I adjusted well when I faced it. My first opponent with a longer reach than me. A lot of amateur experience also, tough opponent. I feel like I did what I needed to do whenever it happened. I overcame a swollen eye. I had my eye swelled up pretty good in the first round. I fought the whole fight with it, and it never bothered me. I was pretty happy with that. I wish I would have stopped them. Looking back now, there's a lot of things I could have done better. But overall, I think it was a pretty decent performance. I think it was a fan-friendly.
Take us to the Oliveira fight, because that was one of the fights I was with. A lot of fans were worried because all of a sudden we saw you in a mode where you take a lot of punishment to dish out a lot of punishment. I mean, as you said, he is a tall guy. He's 5'11", which compared to you, that's gargantuan. I mean, you're a guy who's decent sized for your weight class, staying around about, it says here in BoxRec, about 5'7", 5'8". And that's a guy now you're taking on who's 5'11", 74-inch reach. How much does that hurt you down the line when you see when taller guys see this and go, okay, we could just play, hit and run, and make him just eat punches?
Yeah, I think it's going to work for me pretty good because I think I've pretty much learned to adjust to it. I have a lot of tall sparring partners, but usually none of them hit arms than me. They all have about a 71 or a 70. I think one other one has a 72-inch reach. But it's just hitting and running, and not as much as just standing in the ring of boxing. But just boxing, that's you have to learn to overcome. And I think it's going to work for me. I think I figured him out. Closer to, I think actually worst round, the second round when I could go back and watch. But I think after the third round, I kind of figured him out with the right hand. The little short variation left hand underneath his jab. I feel like I adjusted to his style pretty easily.
The Ken Alvarez fight went a little bit better, as you said. You knocked him down 3 times, TKO in the 5th round. It seemed you made the adjustments quicker. Going back in between those 2 fights, between the Alvarez fight and the Oliveira fight, what was your team telling you? What were you working on in between those 2 fights so that the same things weren't happening, that you weren't just walking in, eating punches, and basically starting off slow?
Yeah, we boxed a little bit more, and we really that was one of our bigger goals. Box a lot more. We had an awesome camp for the Alvarez fight. We had a little hiccup in the end of our camp, Oliveira, in the sparring and with the injury, and so I think played a little bit of a role. But in the Alvarez camp, awesome sparring. I was sparring with Samaje Thomas, beat a guy out of Chicago. So I mean, we had great sparring with him and really good boxing. Just took our time, patient the entire camp, and we stayed focused. That was our main thing for the entire fight, for the entire sparring, every sparring. My dad would tell me, you stay focused every round. 3 minutes that's what we're going to do. You stay focused every round. You can't lose focus at any point with any of these guys because you're starting to up a little bit higher, and you're fighting tougher and tougher opposition. And so you got to stay focused. And I think that was the biggest thing with the Ken Alvarez fight. I stayed focused. And it took me a little while to warm up with him too. That was another issue. But I was actually backstage eating a snack whenever they called me up.
It's funny. There's a UFC fighter you probably have heard of, a guy named Donald Cerrone. Same nickname, same mentality, like you. He is known as the Cowboy Cerrone. Karl, both of you guys have that same mentality. You start boxing, but if a fight breaks out, that's when you like it. You want to have big power punches. You want to go out there and just knock the guy's head off. How big is that for you down the line to mentally stick with a game plan when your mentality is you want to fight? Let's start fighting. Let's start swinging. Let's go for big shots. I will knock you on your ass, son. I will knock you to bleep out.
Yeah, I think it's a great thing for me to have that kind of mentality whenever it's needed. I think it also could be a bad thing for me whenever a little bit too much to the fight. But I've got the mentality in the ring that I can knock you out anytime with any punch. It can happen. And the truth is to it, it can happen to me also. Anybody can be knocked out. But I feel like I can knock my opponent out. I feel like I can knock every opponent out. If you catch him right, everything's going right. It's not a one punch. You're trying to kill him with that one punch thing, and it's harder when you're in the moment. But the excitingness to be an exciting fighter is what brings the fans in and what's getting you big fights. So I think you have to be an exciting fighter that has to take chances, especially at this level right now. Not the very, very, I'm not fighting, I would say, A-level opposition. You got to take chances, guys. You got to make an exciting fight when it might not be an exciting fight.
The new year, what's the game plan? This past year, as you mentioned, you fought 6 times, 6-0 with 4 knockouts. How many times do you expect to fight this upcoming year? I mean, how many fights do you want to fight in 2016?
I'd be very happy with 6. I mean, I'd be very happy with 6 fights. We're supposed to start off with 8 rounds this whole next year, and we'll finish with 2-round fight. If I get 6 fights, I'd be ecstatic. I'd be happy with 5. Very happy with 5. And so the more I fight, the happier I am, of course. But it just a lot of it just depends on your opponents and how they want to move you. What they decide to do. As far as your level of opposition and how fast they want to move you.
What's the biggest thing you feel you need to improve on, as you said, going from 6 rounds to the 8 rounds? Is it a mental aspect or is it a technical aspect?
It's not as much mental for me anymore. When I was, just starting off in the pros, it was kind of more of a mental thing. The more, you get tired or just thinking about it than you would actually being in the ring. And but now I've got a lot more understanding of it and understanding of the rounds, and I'm a lot focused and a lot calmer. And as far as the going to rounds, it's not the biggest thing for me. The hardest thing for me for going from 6 to 8 and going from 8 to 10 or 10 to 12 is going to be staying focused for those more rounds. You just got to remember, you got to stay focused every round. And, because it being, lacking in focus for 5 seconds could be knocked out. So that's the biggest thing, especially stepping up in rounds, is keeping her focus. That's a game plan.
Well, there you have it. Once again, it's the Cowboy himself. I give you Ryan Karl. And Ryan, once again, where can the fans check you out? Where is the Twitter page, Instagram, Facebook? Where can the fans hit you up at?
The Instagram are both Cowboy Karl 1, and then I have my fan page, Ryan Cowboy Karl. You can always follow me on there. And remember, keep God first. And then,
There you have it. Once again, it's the Cowboy himself. I give you Ryan Karl. When we come back, though, we got a whole lot more only on the Squared Circle with the Sports Swami, only on ThaBoxingvoice.com.